it's trolls. Now, this has come about this week specifically because I was actually going to do it as a Wednesday morning training, but we have a really good, interesting Wednesday morning coming up, so I'm not going to trample all over that. So I thought we'd do this on this Saturday, and actually some of our non-members would benefit from this as well, because everybody at some point or another suffers at the hands of these idiots, these trolls that are out there on the internet. As I like to call them, keyboard warriors, people who have nothing to say and yet everything to say. But it's come about this week because one of our members has suffered with it. And again, in his local community has been suffering with it. But it's not the only time it has happened. And also, you know, we get it. I get it time and time again with the Toolbox. I get it when I run adverts. I get it when I put posts out on the page, where you will have people who feel they just have to have an attack. They just have to have something to say, and they feel like they're being clever, you know. And sometimes that's easy enough to deal with. But then you have the ones who are being really malicious, and this is which is what one of our members was going through this week. And that maliciousness can actually hurt your business, and it can hurt you personally. And the problem is that we take it personally. We internalize it and we take it all personally. And as a result of that, we don't think rationally when we're dealing with it. Okay. So what I want to do today is go through what causes this kind of thing. Why do people do this kind of thing, first of all, and then some strategies on how to deal with it, so that when it does happen to you, the red mist doesn't sort of come over. So there is a number of different philosophies for how you should deal with trolls, okay? And from a mental health perspective, most people will tell you to just ignore them and they go away. And I wish that was true. It seems to be the outstanding advice if and when you look anywhere on the web. It says, you know, just ignore them, they're harmless, don't pay attention to what they say, all of that kind of stuff. The unfortunate thing about that is that some of these trolls are very clever in the way that they frame and word things. So when you're running a business, it's very difficult to completely ignore trolls. And there are differences in the types of trolls. So, for example, most of the advice online is based on, from a mental health aspect, where you're being bullied directly, as in somebody's name calling you or they are threatening you. What they don't seem to take on into account on many of the other online advice sites are people who are running businesses who get subtle trolling, where, for example, in the case of our member this week, and I'm sure he's not going to mind me mentioning his name, Hayden, okay? So I'll say Hayden. So in Hayden's case this week, he had somebody suggesting that his workmanship was poor or his workmanship was bad. And this person was doing this in order to make themselves feel or look better on their Facebook page. But that in itself is trolling. You know, when somebody gives a false review, makes a false statement, or something that can damage your business, that is trolling a business. Whereas the difference is trolling an individual is when people are being bullied online and it starts to affect their mental health, and so on and so forth. But look, the general consensus is it's the same type of people who do this type of thing. Whether it's another business attacking your business because they feel inferior and they feel weak or they feel jealous or they feel upset that you're doing better than them, you've got to look at why do people do this kind of thing. And when you realize why they actually do it, you can sit back calmer and laugh at the situation rather than take the situation to heart. Because when you look at the general consensus from psychologists, many psychologists, you can search these online, say that the number of reasons that people will troll you on site or try to bully you or attempt to bully you or attempt to troll you on site are like the following, okay? And they take a number of different variations or different formats. But one is revenge, okay? So this could be somebody who feels that you took a job, and we're going to talk primarily from the point of view of your business, okay? We'll probably touch on some personal trolling and that kind of stuff as well. But primarily what I'm interested in and what I'm talking about here is your business. So if we look at revenge as a motive, it's going to be or likely to be somebody that perceives that you took a job from them. you know, that they felt that they deserved to have that job, or that you're encroaching on their area or something like that. That comes from a position of weakness, where they believe that they were entitled to something and now they feel they have to lash out with you or lash out at you. Another reason is jealousy. People feeling that you are doing better than them. So that their only way to put you down, the only way for them to try and put you into a box, is to try and slag you off online, is try and put you down online, is to make up stories about you, is to attack you from behind their keyboard warriors, is to make them feel better. Yeah. The other reason that some of them do it is just to get attention. And this is particularly relevant for the one that Hayden was going through the other day, because there was absolutely no other reason for this gentleman to post what he posted, apart from trying to get some attention to himself by saying that Hayden was doing something and he had to go and correct it. Well, so far he's not proved that he's had to go and correct anything, which is another thing we'll deal with and we'll talk about. But they're putting themselves out there and saying, "Oh, this guy's work is crap. This guy's work is bad. This guy's not registered. This guy's whatever." Yeah, so that they get the attention. So that they, and this is what was happening to this guy. You know, people were saying to him, "Oh, thanks for letting us know about this guy." You know, "Oh, I wouldn't use anybody except you." So it's like it's almost like Munchausen. It's like, I'll get some attention if I say somebody else is crap and bad. Then I'll get some pats on the back and some good attention from other people online, and that's another reason why they do it. Another reason why psychologists say that people act like this is out of boredom. They're sitting around in the evening. They've got nothing better to do because they've got nothing going on in their life, and they're bored. You know, they're either not in a good relationship with their spouse, so they don't know how to actually deal with their spouse. They don't have friends. They don't have a social circle to interact with, so they get bored. So when you look at all of these things and you think, you know, you think if somebody starts trolling you now and you look at this online and you think to yourself, what's the motive behind this? And you think, well, is it revenge? Did I do something to this person? Is it jealousy? Am I doing something better than this person? By the way, you know, jealousy is a huge compliment, because if somebody is acting out of jealousy, it means that they envy what you have, which means you are doing something good. So keep doing it. Yeah. Or are they seeking attention, or are they bored? But the bottom line is, it's not something that you've done, and it's not something that you can control. It's about them. It's about how they behave, not about what you've done or how you behave. And yet we internalize it because of the way that they phrase things and the way that they word things. And we look at it and we think, oh shit, he's attacking my work. He's saying I'm crap, or he's saying my customers are complaining about me. Or he's saying I'm not registered. I'll prove to him. I'll show him that I am. You know, so we get all personalized and we internalize all of this. When the reality is, if you take 2 seconds, stand back and look at it and say, right, what's this guy's motive? And when you start to think about the motive, you can then start to think about the response to it. Okay, and we're going to deal with that in a few minutes as well. So that gives you some insight into why people do this. But then, you know, the psychologists go a little bit deeper and they say that when people are doing this kind of engaging in this kind of behavior, it's because they want to lash out at people who are successful, people who are happy or who are enjoying their lives, simply because they can't, because they're not successful, because they're not happy, and because they're not enjoying their lives. So in some essences and in some ways, you almost want to pity them. The bottom line, the psychologists will tell us, is that people troll people online, particularly because they themselves have low self-worth. They don't have a belief in themselves. They don't value themselves. They actually have low self-worth. And they probably also have elements of mental health issues as well. So when you get these posts, sit back and think about that. Sit back and think to yourself, this isn't about me. This is about them. This isn't, you know, yes, they're lashing out at you and they're attacking you, but it's not about you. It's about them. Because the problem with believing it's about you is you go and you start to justify it. You start to feed into this and you start lashing out and getting back. And the problem with that is, with the red mist down, you don't think and you say things that you can't take back, because once it's out there, you cannot take it back. And if you get into a slagging match, that's the wrong thing to do. If you start to justify yourself, That's the wrong thing to do, because by justifying yourself, you're actually providing them with more ammunition. And these people, remember, not about you, it's about them. These people will just keep digging and just keep looking for more out of your sense of justification, because they'll be looking for the weaknesses. They'll feel if you're justifying it, you're justifying it for a reason. So therefore, if they dig a little bit deeper, if they scratch a little bit more, if they keep going, they'll get even deeper and deeper and deeper into you. So that's not the way to deal with it. Don't answer with the red mist, number one. Sit back, take a breath, realize this individual has some form of mental health issue himself, some way, shape, or form. Yeah. Now, I'm not talking about a genuine complaint here. I'm talking about people who are trolling and lashing out. Okay. There's a big difference. When people have genuine complaints, they have genuine complaints. And there's a big difference with how you actually deal with these. Okay. I'm talking about people who are out there literally just trying to put a spanner in the works for the sake of putting a spanner in the works because they've got nothing better to do. Okay. So sit back, look at the reasoning behind it. Realize it's not about you. It's about them. Take a deep breath. Okay. And then consider how you're going to respond. And we'll look at that in a minute. So how do these people go about doing what it is that they do? Well, they tell lies and they make accusations. Okay. And you know it's a lie and you know it's a false accusation, but anybody else reading it doesn't know that. So again, our instant reaction is to lash out and shout back at this individual. We shouldn't do that. Okay, I'm going to tell you what you should do in a few minutes. Okay, but you shouldn't just lash out. They use profanity quite a lot. You know, when they can't get their own way, when they're challenged, and we've seen that a number of times this week. They use profanity when they run out of arguments because they don't have the dialect, they don't have the words to use. They haven't got a strong enough argument, so they'll resort to calling you names and calling you a wanker and so on and so forth, because they want to try and lash out, they want to try and hurt, and they think that that's the way to do it. And specifically, if they're doing it on your page, they think that you don't want that kind of behavior on your page because it will upset your customers and you don't want it seen. So you're going to lash out back at them, you're going to tell them to stop and all of that. Not the way to deal with it. Okay, so they use profanity. They'll create fake reviews. We've mentioned that. I've alluded to that already. They'll create fake reviews. You know, they will anonymously post a review about you or your business, or they'll say something like, the typical example was the one that was used this week. They'll say something like, this guy's crap. I've actually had to go out and sort out 3 of his jobs in the past. And you'd be surprised at the state it was left in. His customers were not very happy. They're never going to use him again, blah, blah, blah. So they create this fake situation, okay? And you can disprove that. You can easily disprove that. Or they'll use outright threats. Yeah, they'll use threats like, oh, I will see you in town, or I'll come round, I know where you are, or I've seen your van around, I can deal with you. So they'll use threats, outright threats. Or it'll be threats against your business. It'll be threats like, I'm going to report you to the NIC, or I'm going to report you to the VAT man, or, you know, you'll get this type of thing from these kind of idiots as well, okay? But who does the trolling? Who are these people that do the trolling? Well, first of all, they're weak. And according to the psychologists, they have narcissistic tendencies. Now, narcissistic tendencies tend to mean that these people believe that they have a right to do this kind of thing. These people believe in their mind that it's their God-given right to put other people down, put other people back in their box. If you're doing well, it's up to them to hold you down. If you're happy in what you're doing and you're being successful in what you're doing, it's their role to actually stop you and squash you in a little bit. So they're weak people. But unfortunately, because they have this narcissistic tendency, it also gives them an element of, what's the word I'm looking for here? It's like an element of authority, because they believe strongly that they're right and that what they're doing is the right thing to do. They do it with confidence. And what we find is when people do that, that kind of thing with an element of confidence, and some of you will have experienced this. Please let me know if you've experienced. What I'm about to talk to you about now is the fact that you will have a troll say something and say it with such conviction. For example, in Hayden's case, this guy's a cowboy. I wouldn't go. I wouldn't use him. He has to put leaflets out because he's desperate for work. And then suddenly, what you have is you have other people coming along, and they're saying similar things to the troll. So the troll gets the ball rolling, and then you have this passive side of the internet. These people who are sitting there, just being entertained by the internet, I guess. But then they see a comment by somebody who says it with conviction, who says it with bravado, and then they go, "Oh, thanks for letting us know. Oh, you're such a star. You're really helpful. I'll keep away from him. He must be really shit. He must be really." And now they're not just agreeing with the other guy; they're joining in the process. How many of you have experienced that type of thing? So these people who are following on are not necessarily trolls. Okay, they're not necessarily trolls, but what they're doing is they're following what they believe is a strong character. And unfortunately, a lot of human beings do that kind of thing. We have a sort of a 60-20-20 element within any population. You've got 60% who sit in the middle and are, and the same. This, by the way, same thing goes for can go for like politics and fringe politics and that kind of stuff as well. You get 60% who sat in the middle. You have 20% who have one view or one side of things, and you have the other 20% who have another view or the other side of things. So let's call it good and bad. Doesn't necessarily have to be, but let's say you have the one on the one side, the troll, 20% who's got the bad side of things. Well, if they're doing this with conviction and with authority and with strength and with some form of charisma, then the 60% who sit on the fence lean towards that individual, and that's why they get this element of support. You've got to understand this, because that's why now you then feel attacked, because this one person has started a chain reaction. But what you've got to remember is this 60% are not attacking you. They are following what they believe is a charismatic person. Hopefully this is making sense. Hopefully it is. And I'm sure some of you will have experienced this. I'm sure that you will have had a situation where you've been trolled on the net, and then suddenly 4 or 5 other people jump in and they go, "Oh yeah, I saw this and I saw this and that," and they back up the other guy. Yeah. So the way to combat that, of course, is for you to be as charismatic. You can either balance the scales or you can lead the scales in your favor. So this is why I disagree with the whole idea of, backing down and not saying anything, ignoring them. And this is unfortunately some of the strong advice online, is that you should just ignore these people and let it go. But the problem I see with that, particularly when you're running a business, is that if you back away and ignore it and they carry on, and they don't even have to carry on, they have to do 1 or 2 strong posts, and then they have other people going, "Yeah, I saw this. Yeah, this happened. Yeah, that happened. Oh yeah, I agree with this." And sometimes they haven't even experienced it. They're just agreeing with what the other guy has said. Okay. And if you back away and you're not responding, then the balance of that scales tips against you, and you feel under attack. You feel that these people are out to get you. Okay. And the way to counteract that, of course, is to actually respond. But then how do you respond? What do you do to respond? Yeah. Like I said, I don't believe in standing back and doing nothing. Now, if this was just a pure personal bullying situation, my thoughts on this would be completely different. Okay. If this was a bully, I have a completely different approach to dealing with it. For what we're talking about here today is business. What we're talking about today is when people troll your business or attacking your business. Okay. And you've got to be conscious of the fact that by being silent, it makes them feel stronger. It makes them feel like they're getting away with it. And then they become emboldened and embrazened, and they'll go further. And then as people join on behind them, but people support them in some way, manner, or shape, then they feel even more emboldened. And not only then do they carry on attacking you, but they'll go on and they'll attack other people. Why? Because they feel that they've created a support network for themselves in the way that they're behaving. Let me have a sip of my coffee. So what do you do? Okay. So my opinion is, and guys, this is how I deal with things. This is how I deal with it, and hopefully it will serve you well. But what I suggest is, first and foremost, don't feed the trolls. And what do I mean by don't feed the trolls? What I mean is, if you take a typical troll, they feed on badness, they feed on ugly, they feed on anger, they feed on frustration. Okay, so if you go back using profanities to them, if you go back threatening them and telling them you're going to find them, you're going to track them down, if you do what, and you know, one of the passive aggressive ways that I've seen people deal with this is they say, you know, and they post this publicly online, which is freaking ridiculous, but they'll say things like, right, I'm going to put his name and address into a search engine, we're going to have him spammed, or I'm going to go around and I'm going to drop dog poo on his doorstep or something like that. You know, don't feed them by giving back the same level of maliciousness and hate. It doesn't work, and it only feeds into their ego, because they will feed on it. They will see your frustration and they will try and push it even more and more. They don't go, oh, he's frustrated and he's angry and he's swearing back at me, I'm going to give up now, I'm going to stop. They don't do that. They go, right, he's getting wound up, I've got to him, so I'm going to keep fucking niggling. And that's what they do. They keep niggling, they keep picking away at you. And the angrier you get, pardon me, the angrier you get, the more they will troll you. So don't feed that. Don't give in to that. And as much as you feel a personal attack, as much as you feel your honour's been called to question, your workmanship has been called to question, your customers have been called to question, I know it becomes, and you feel rage and you feel it's personal. But what you got to do, go back to what I said at the beginning, look at the reasons why these people do that, sit back and have a chuckle to yourself and think to yourself, well, why is he doing this? Have I upset him? Am I encroaching on what he perceives to be his area? Nobody fucking owns an area. Am I encroaching on what he perceives to be his area? Have I provided a customer better service than he could ever do? Have I, as he perceives, stolen the customer away from him? You can't steal a customer away from somebody. If they fucking want to go with you, they go with you. So, you know, what is it? Why are they doing this? That's what you've got to look at. That's what you've got to think about. And, you know, that's if it's another S.P.A.R.K.S. But if it's somebody out in the general public, you know, is it a disgruntled customer? What's caused them to do that? You know, are they related to somebody who's a S.P.A.R.K.S? Are they just an idiot? You've got to look at all of these things before even contemplating a response. Because when you understand why they're doing it, then you can start to formulate your response, okay? And above all, when you do respond, be polite, because that will fucking kill them. Be polite. Use their name. Be apologetic if necessary. Oh, really sorry you feel that way, John. Can I ask you, why do you feel like that? Oh, it saddens me to think that you look at our business like that, but what's giving you that impression? You've got to keep it nice and polite, okay? Do not get into swearing. Do not get into, well, profanities. Don't get into anger. Don't get into snipiness. Just keep it nice and polite. Also, keep it professional. Only talk about the topic at hand. So no matter what they say about how fucking ugly your dog is, or how fucking crap your van is, or how you were a fucking fart in your father's underpants, whatever they say, you go back to the point in hand. So if they've said that you always turn up late for a job or a job of work, then that's what you stick to. Keep the ugliness out of it. Don't fucking don't even acknowledge the fact that they've said you were ugly or that your cat was fucking whatever. Don't buy into that. Take it back to the actual point and ignore whatever. This will kill them. Trust me, because they want you to bite. That's why they're getting personal. But you don't want to. You want to keep it professional. So if they say that in the case I get is like your ad looks ridiculous or something like that, it's like, you know, you're stupid, you can't speak fucking English, you can't spell for shit, blah blah blah. So I'm really sorry if I got a spelling wrong. I am actually dyslexic. But what is it about the ad that triggered you? And I'll bring it back to the ad. What is it about that did that? What is it about that that piece of work, that thing that you are complaining about, whatever it happens to be. So keep it back to that and keep it professional. And the reason behind this, guys, is because you will find eventually that that's the only thing that really matters. And at the end of the day, it was never really an issue. You know, you're triggered because they say, let's say all your customers complain about you, right? All your customers complain about you. And you're useless and you're this, that, and the other. Now, most people, unfortunately, spend their time arguing back about how I'm not fucking useless and how I do this and how I do that and how I do. And they forget the fact that they said all your customers complain, because they start getting into the personal shit. What you want to go back then, and you go back and you keep it and you pin it to that point. So which customers? And they won't be able to name them. They will not be able to name them. But then when they go, oh, you're fucking stupid and you're this, that, yeah, but which customers? And then they'll come back again. Well, if you fucking knew your work, you blah, blah, you'd know what customers you've upset, blah, blah, blah. Okay, unfortunately, I don't know because nobody's complained to me. So you've had the complaint. Tell me which customer. And you just keep going back at them professionally about the actual point. What is it about the actual point in hand? I get it about my ads. Oh, your ad is fucking stupid. Your ad is fucking this, blah, 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 blah. So what is it about it? Tell me what, you know, if I've got something wrong, tell me, let me know. But the thing is, they can't fucking say because they're not experienced in advertising. They're not experienced in marketing. So they haven't got the level of knowledge to actually say it. They just know that in their head, it's stupid. Well, I don't like it. I don't fucking like it. Yeah, okay. Well, you don't like it. You're not my ideal customer. If the words don't resonate with you, then fine, bow out. It doesn't matter. I don't care. It's you that's been triggered, not me. Okay? And this is how you've got to keep it on a professional level. I've already alluded to this final piece of it is questions. Guys, always, always, always go back with questions. You keep it nice and polite all the time, no matter how angry and aggressive they get. And, you know, toolboxers have watched me do this from time to time. And I'm sure some of you non-toolboxers have seen some of the stuff that I've had to deal with out online as well. But and the advice I will always give when you've got a troll or you've got a customer who is trolling because of a particular point or whatever is to always go back and ask questions. Because out of all of their anger, out of all of their frustration, out of all of their issues and problems, somewhere underneath, there is either going to be a genuine reason for their issue, and that's what you want to do. You want to bring it back to the genuine issue, because once you get the genuine issue, you can deal with it. Or you go back and you realize that it's one of the trolling issues that we've had before, that they're either making something up, creating a false review, so on and so forth, but then they're exposed. So what you find by asking questions is if there is a genuine issue and somebody slagged you off, or somebody slated you because oh, you've left the house in a freaking mess. You've destroyed my house. You've gone and you've done this. Oh, I'll never use your service again. Okay, I'm really sorry that you feel that way. I do recall working at your property, but can you tell me exactly what was the problem? What did I actually? Well, you fucking screwed it. You left the house in a mess. But okay, left the house in a mess is a great big thing. What did I actually do? Well, upstairs on the landing there was 4 wood shavings on the. Right, okay, now we get to the fucking basis of it, okay? And that's what you've got to do, and you've got to drill down and drill down, but you do it politely and not in an accusatory way, okay? You don't do it in a, oh, no, I could never have fucking fucked up. I would never do this. I would never do that. You have to prove to me, and you have to show me that. Don't do it in that way. Just go, I'm really sorry if that's, but please explain to me exactly what, well, you left it in a, no, but please tell me exactly what. And you narrow it down and narrow it down and narrow it down. And if there's a genuine issue, like the 4 wood shavings or whatever, then you go, I'm really sorry. You know, I mean, 4 wood shavings, we've missed that. What can I do to make up for it? Blah, blah, blah. But now you've diffused the situation, and people who've been following the thread can actually see that the guy was overreacting, that you dealt with this, and that you're willing to do something more about it. Okay? So that's if it's a genuine issue. If it's not a genuine issue, and it's somebody who's saying, for example, in the case of Hayden, where somebody's actually saying, oh, you screw up all the time and your customers don't call you back, and I've had to go out and deal with 3 of your jobs. You know, the immediate response to that is, okay, look, I'm sorry that you've had that experience, but could you explain to me which 3 jobs you've had to go back to so that I can do something about this? Please let me know. And then they go back, well, you know your fucking business, blah, blah. Yeah, but please let me know which 3 jobs are we actually talking about. I can't have a discussion with you about this unless I actually know which 3. But then what you end up getting is a tirade of abuse because there was no fucking 3 jobs, because there was nothing to go back onto. So he then starts to get defensive, and he starts to get bullshit, and he starts to get problematic about it. And he doesn't have a response. He can't say, oh, I'll private message you because I don't want to put their names on here publicly, which would be an adequate response. It would be a reasonable response for him to go, I'll let you know. And then he messages you and he lets you know, and then you can go back online. And if it was a genuine thing, you can follow it up and you can say, well, actually, I didn't work for Mrs. Smith and I didn't do this for Mrs. Jones and Mr. blah, 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 whatever. You can respond to it. But if he's making it up, it shows him up for the liar that he is, for the person that he is, for what he's done. And this is exactly what has happened in Hayden's case this week. The guy he put his Facebook page on private so that nobody else could comment on it. He blocked Hayden from commenting or seeing comments and so on and so forth. So, that's their response because they've got nothing. So go back with questions. Always go back politely. Do not feed the trolls by getting them angry or worked up. Go back politely, professionally. Keep it back to the point all of the time. And you will find that you will either get to the crux of the issue and then you can deal with it. You can only deal with something once you've got past all the mist and the anger and shit. Or you've exposed somebody for the troll and the lies that they are actually telling. So hopefully that has helped this morning, guys. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you want to give me an example of some of the sentences that trolls have sent to you that have been posted to you. And here's the downside for this for most people, is that it prevents them from putting their head above the parapet. I know really good sparks who won't do YouTube, won't do Facebook because they're afraid of people like that, which is crazy. You can help your own business by having your Facebook operating, your Twitter operating, your YouTube operating, all of these things working for you. And people hold back and don't do it because they're afraid of trolls. They're afraid of people who will shout them down. They're afraid of people who will slag them off. And 9 times out of 10, these people have no substance behind what they're actually doing. But it stops people from moving forward in their business. And that's a shame. You shouldn't allow that. You shouldn't do that. You should have a strategy for dealing with these people. And like I said, the strategy is be polite, be professional, and ask questions and have them respond to the questions as publicly as you can. And then the other side of it is don't let up. When they refuse to answer the question, keep going back and keep asking the question, because they won't have the answers and it shows them up. And then what happens, remember that the 60-20-20 rule? Then what happens is you have the 60% moving in your favor. They move towards you now because they see what the other guy has been up to. They see that he was just stirring things up. They see that he was just causing problems. Okay? Guys, that's me pretty much done as far as, first of all, talk to our non-Toolbox members at the moment. So if you're not a Toolbox member at the moment, I have to ask the question. I ask it every Saturday. Why are you not a Toolbox member? Toolbox members get 24/7 access to a private training portal. Inside that private training portal, we have over 500 training videos, lots and lots of training materials. There are PDF documents. There are templates. We have weekly live events similar to what we're doing here today, but inside the private area, we have our Q&A on a Wednesday, good learning experience for everybody. And we have our training on Q&A on a Monday and training on a Wednesday. We offer our members free websites and free email addresses as well. As I said, we've mentioned templates. You get templates for everything from leaflets, brochures, newsletters, magazine advertisements, magazine articles, letters for letting agents, estate agents, letters to homeowners. There's lots and lots of templates for various different things that you can actually use within your business. We have a private Facebook community where there is now 313 like-minded electricians or like-minded tradespeople across the UK, male and female, who are in there. It is primarily electricians, but we also have heating engineers, plumbers, builder, glazier, locksmith. in there as well. It is primarily UK, but we do have some people from different areas of the globe as well. And there's so much more on offer as a Toolbox member. If it's something that you're interested in pursuing, the investment is extremely low, guys, extremely low. It is only £97 per calendar month, and I can guarantee you, you will earn that back in bucket loads. I actually had a conversation with somebody recently who was very interesting, who was spending over £300 a month on Facebook advertising, just managing the ad. That wasn't the spend. That was the money being spent on managing the ads. One quick conversation saves them that £300 per month. Not to mention the ad spend, which again was, well, I'll give you the anomaly here, right? Okay, so the ad spend was about 120 a month, every month. So you're spending £300 to manage 120 spend. Doesn't make sense. But anyway, that's besides the point. So quick conversation, you're saving the 300, you're saving the freaking 120 as well. Guys, there's huge things like that in your business that can be adjusted, can be tweaked, can be saved. There's a huge amount of ways that people are trying to generate leads at the moment that are ineffectual but are costing money. For the sake of £97 a month, you will learn strategies that actually work and are working for thousands of electricians across the UK. There are people who have attended webinars with me, people who have attended live events, people who have read my book, and our community now of 313 as of yesterday members within the actual Toolbox itself. If it's something you're interested in, www.jdewane.com/toolbox is the link that you want. We would love to have you in the community. It is a guaranteed money back offer. You know, try it for the first month. If at the end of the month you think it's not for you, and by the way, you won't, but if at the end of the month you thought it's not for you, I'll give you your money back. And that's not a scam, that's not a con, that's not to try and just get you in the door and all of that. Well, it is, because I want you to get in and have a look at it. But the bottom line is, if you want your money back and you don't want to work with us, I don't want you in there. Simple as that. I'm not going to have somebody in my community upsetting the apple cart going, oh, I wanted to get a refund and he wouldn't give me a fucking refund. That's not how I operate. That's not how I run. Okay. And I'm not going anywhere. I've been around doing this now for the last 7 odd years. Anybody who's worked with me will tell you the results that they get. There is no bullshit. It is not necessarily hand holding. It's arse kicking. I will show you what to do. I will demonstrate what to do. You will get results if you do what I ask you to do. Simple as that. So that's the URL on site if you want to have a go at that. It's jdewane.com/toolbox. Right.